Okay, greetings and salutations. We are back for
31
days. For days, what now? What one were we on? I lost track.
We are doing day 12, day 13, and day 14.
14, that's right. So we have the Exorcism of Emily Rose that we're going to speak about first, and then The Visit, and then we'll slip into The Exorcist, which is pretty self-explanatory. We won't go too much into depth on that. We'll just give a couple little fun facts and our rating on it. So,
okay.
If you want to go ahead, right. This was my first time watching this. Although I thought, as I was watching it, I was starting to remember some parts of it. Like I was telling you, I remembered the part with the priest. So it kind of started clicking a little bit, but I still liked it. It was still like I still really liked the movie. I was super impressed. So. I will deal with her. You start. You start. We already knew this was going to be a thing. So.
The Exorcism of Emily Rose. They classified this as a supernatural horror legal drama.
Right. It was basically kind of like court drama-y. A lot of it dealt actually with the courts.
I just think it's funny.
The flashbacks were the only thing that really got you into the story of Emily Rose, of what happened in the exorcism. And so the whole story is of the priest who treated Emily Rose. They decided to go with, what would you call it? Not ritual, but it was beliefs, or they went with...
They didn't go
with medicine. They didn't go with medicine. I was trying to come up with that word.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they were devout Christians, and they believed that...
I mean, this is based on a true story.
Right.
I don't know if we really want to go into too much backstory, but it is based off of a true story. And the priest is on trial for reckless homicide.
Right. Right. It was some form of homicide, and it was they said it was his fault. Apparently.
Oh, negligent homicide. Yeah. Excuse me. Yes. Because she died of malnutrition.
Right, and she was but they didn't believe she was possessed. They believed that she had schizophrenia. They believed. What else did they believe? They thought she was having seizures. They thought it was
no, they thought it was grand mal seizures and epilepsy and psychosis.
Right.
So the family is devout, devout Christians, and the Catholic Church doesn't want to authorize this exorcism.
Right.
But the priest goes ahead.
Yeah.
And goes along with it. So we have Aaron Bruner, who is the lawyer.
Right.
To Father Moore, who's on trial for Emily Rose's death. You have her family in the audience.
Right.
And we basically kind of start at the beginning, really, right?
Right.
This was Emily's story.
Right. And this is all the priest wanted, was for Emily's story to be told. He kept saying that was the most important part of this whole thing, is her story needed to be told.
And the tapes that you hear in the movie in the courtroom, there are actual real tapes that we listened to.
Right. We took a listen, and it was like, we wish that they were captioned because they were in German, and we couldn't but probably are translated somewhere.
Right, because this is based off of the true story of Annalise Mikhail. I thought it was Michael's.
Mikhail, yes.
A young woman in German back in 1952. So
right in Germany.
Yeah. So we get to meet our young Emily Rose.
Right.
In college.
Right. They start telling this backstory of her. The lawyer at the lady, I can't remember her name, but
Erin Bruner.
She's trying to actually get a partnership at her firm, so that's big motivation for her. That's why her boss put her on the case, is because he's like, if you pull this off, because nobody believed any part of this. They were like, this was going to be a slam dunk.
Can you see if we're recording? If we stopped recording and we didn't do it.
Yeah, I could see it.
I just had to know.
Oh, yeah.
Just checking.
I see the reflection.
There's nothing worse than recording something and
Right,
it
and
not
then having to do it again, like we did already once. Anyway, so yeah,
so we have Father Moore in jail.
right.
Just basically saying, I want to be put on the stand, telling her, I want to tell Emily's story. I want to be put on the stand. That's my only request.
Yeah, but the Grand Cardinals have a problem with that, or whoever the hell it is. The higher ups have a problem with him speaking because it puts more of a black eye on the church, like they already have, like 2 black eyes and a broken leg. But yeah, like they needed more shit on their plate, so they really did not want him to talk about any kind of exorcism or anything like that. They wanted to just be like, cut ties with him and be done. And that was
especially because the Catholic Church considers this to be a failed exorcism, and a young woman is now dead.
That they didn't sanction.
Mm-hmm.
That was the other part of it. So it was like, you fucked up. That's on you. You're going to have to ride this out. So, yeah, we start getting into the backstory of Emily Rose. She's in school.
She's in school, and shortly thereafter attending college, she begins to have these bizarre hallucinations. It started with a smell of fire, something burning.
Right.
Something burning that she thought that their dorm was on fire, and then she felt this heavy
she was
weight.
getting pushed into the bed, like it was like she was being pinned down.
Right. It scared her so much she phoned a family friend, and just basically broke down and was terrified of what had just happened to her. Right.
And it's just, that's when it just keeps getting worse, and you start finding out more and more. They go to the courts, the court. That's why I'm kind of smoothing over the courts, because you can get really boring with that shit, because they just brought up a lot of doctors that were like saying, yes, there was this drug that she was on, that they stopped her from taking, and they were trying to blame that, and then they were trying to they were basically really trying to show that this was all medical and this was not some demonic possession. They were trying to make that look like that guy, the lawyer, was a dick, and that was the worst casting too. That guy was a fucking asshole, because he was just all about, the people, and and he was all God-fearing too, and he thought this was just an abomination, like this was awful. So that was really bad.
I mean, it's you're dealing with a spiritual possession and a spiritual battle between demons and between God, and that is very difficult for some people to understand. So that's where his side of the perspective is that they killed her, the priest included. But Gamutrol, which was the medication that her doctor put her on for epilepsy, I think when he was cross-examined, you could tell that he didn't really have a good enough reason to have put her on that medication.
No, because he was just spitballing. Like, at that point, nothing else was making sense, and they were just trying to throw pills.
And she wasn't getting better, and she was starting to hallucinate demons all over the place. People... She runs to the church, and her boyfriend...
And her features are starting to change, too. Right? Mm-hmm. Like, she's starting to transform. Like, she's not herself anymore, and it's pretty obvious. She's going through changes, and... Yeah, it was just... just watching her slow descent and nobody helping her, just everybody just being like...
Right, and as they're trying to sort of sort out her symptoms, they do sort of say the pupils will dilate, the body will contort in a seizure, in unusual ways. All
of it made sense. I mean, it wasn't like what they were saying was bullshit. It was just, it's just hard for, like, a movie watcher to be like, God, don't go in that room kind of shit. What's wrong with you? Like... But yeah, so she's having to deal with, like, everybody fighting with her and trying to make her look crazy, basically, and just trying to throw pills at her instead of getting to the problem.
Well, like she said that she had been taking the pills every day and everything continued to happen. The seizures, the hallucinations. She couldn't eat. She said that they wouldn't let her eat, or the sound of the clinking,
would not eat. Yeah, they would just
the silverware and people eating.
Yeah. So
Shalene made her sick.
Yeah. So she
ends up going home. She goes home. She can't stay in school. She's freaking out all the time.
Right. And she's having episodes like on the daily.
And the medication isn't helping. So she goes home and they seek their priest.
Right. They're like, this is out of our hands at this point. We need some other angle. Doctors aren't helping.
Right.
We need to get somewhere else.
And she herself is saying she believes that she is possessed.
Right.
In between her lucid moments,
she's herself. Yeah. When she's lucid, she's totally 100% herself.
Yeah.
But other times she's not even there. Like she's just a shell.
Right. Right.
So,
they do try multiple exorcisms, if I remember correctly.
Right.
She started doing weird stuff in her bedroom, eating bugs.
Right.
Breaking her teeth and self-harming herself, and they started to try to do an exorcism.
Right.
But the exorcisms, they didn't work.
None of them worked. I mean, there was that one that was in the barn.
Mm-hmm. That was the big one. That was
the big one. And
where we got to hear
who exactly was in there, and it was like 6 different demons, that's insane. And they were all like baddies too, weren't they? Like they had names.
The last one, Lucifer the devil himself.
It was Lucifer, but then in the
Legion.
it was in the real tapes. They said that she was talking to Hitler.
Right, of
like all the bad,
real life,
like some really bad people, like
Annalise.
people that you would think would be in hell. They actually were demons. They actually are demons, which that's crazy if that's for real. But that was the climax of everything is of course the court case
where he actually plays the tape of them in the barn.
Right.
With the exorcism, they had a doctor present, they had the boyfriend, they had the family, her family there.
Right.
And
we glossed over the one guy that they were going to bring into court but got killed.
Well, that was the doctor.
They had the one doctor that they were going to bring in, and he ends up, spoiler alert, but yeah.
Well, he gives over the tape, and he says he will come testify to its
authenticity.
Yeah.
And so he was going to come to court, and of course he gets smoked, and so then that's out so the lawyer at that point is like, we're sunk. We have nothing. They're crushing us right now. They are totally making this exorcism thing sound like a bunch of bunk and hooey, and so that
right. They brought their own medical doctor, the priest, and she said that the medication.
So the chick's law firm plays hardball with her, and it's like, look, like we're about to fire your ass. If you put him back on the stand, you're done. You forget a partnership. You won't even be in this firm anymore. So they just threatened her totally. They're like, just do whatever you're gonna do with this case. Just lose it, but lose it the right way. Do not put him back on the stand, because they were also getting the archbishop was coming down on them because of the whole it wasn't sanctioned, don't talk about it, kind of thing.
And also I think it came out that her last representative, the last person she represented, got off, but then just committed a double murder,
another murder
while she was defending the priest. So I think it was I think she was getting a bad rap or something. And
plus she was getting attacked too. Like the demons were coming after her too. They were starting to fuck with her.
The priest, the doctor, yes.
That's why the priest kept saying, this is very important. Like, this needs to be told. It has to be told, if nothing else. Like, her story needs to be told, so.
But the reason why the exorcism didn't work was because of the medication. The Gambutol.
It was blocking the exorcism.
Yeah.
Well, the powers of the exorcism.
Sure.
So yeah, that,
in the end, she became a martyr, basically martyred herself because she was told by the Virgin Mary that she could go to heaven, she could end all this now, and she could go ahead and be taken to heaven, or she could go back to her body where she would suffer greatly, but that her story would be told that there are real demons. If you need to believe in there's a God, then this will show you that there are demons, right?
Yes. So.
And so she decided to go back into her body, where she did pass away basically right after. I would say.
Yeah, she didn't last very long after that. And
I mean, the post-mortem pictures are absolutely shocking. But if you look up the real victim,
right,
you were even surprised by the photos of the real victim.
Yeah,
she looked.
It was horrific.
A before and after.
Yeah. You would say something traumatic happened to that person, like not just starvation or whatever. That was something else.
Yeah.
What
are your thoughts?
So of course, the last day in court, she puts him on the stand, even though she got threatened, and she said,
yes.
"Fuck you." She said, "Fuck you" to her firm. She was like, "You know what? Fuck you." The guy got up and walked out too. As soon as she was like, "I'm putting him back up."
Yeah.
So, because he had that last letter from her, that was
the priest
that just detailed everything you just said.
Right. Yeah.
So,
the priest had a letter, also along with the tape of the exorcism from Emily Rose, stating exactly what she believed and why she made the choices with her body, and
why she was
why she stopped taking the medication.
Why she was okay with that too.
Yeah.
And so, in the end, the priest, spoiler alert,
unfortunately,
guilty.
You know,
he got the guilty.
They did charge him.
They charged him with murder.
Guilty.
Yeah, well, they charged him with murder basically, but it was cool because they were like time served. Like he would have had to have done like 12 to 15, and instead he did time served. Yeah. So he basically just got out, and that was it.
In real life, they were charged. Actually, the parents of Annalise McHale were charged, and the priest, and they all were found guilty.
Yeah.
So it did ring some more of the truth into it, but he kind of got off.
Yeah, so it was kind of like it was a weird ending, like, you know, there was it was like a horror movie ending. I mean, it was just like, you left with just kind of like, wow, that sucks. So you feel bad for what she had to go through, but you understood why she did it. And
the possibilities. Is it possible? Is it possible that demons do exist? Is it possible that Emily was possessed? Is it possible that's what caused her death?
I believe it.
Yeah.
I would believe it.
So you've actually seen the movie. We thought you hadn't seen it, but you recalled actually seeing it.
And I liked it. And I did like it. I give it like a strong 6, 7.
Yeah. I do too.
I was super impressed. It's kind of maybe too much, but yeah, I was very impressed.
With the actress.
Went into it. Yeah, because I already knew her from Dexter. And so I was kind of like, I know she can act.
What's that fun fact? You said she went into audition.
Oh, she went into audition, and they hired, like, she was so convincing as a demon that they hired her right, like, on the spot. Like, literally, her audition killed it, and they didn't even bother looking for anybody else. So
that's crazy. That's crazy.
Totally nailed it.
And what did you say? You said, oh, she acted like she had been possessed before.
Like, this wasn't her first time.
This wasn't her first time.
Like, this was not her first rodeo as a possessee. So
that was The Exorcism of Emily Rose. If you haven't seen it,
check it out for sure.
And it's kind of one of those movies, like you said, I can really pop on anytime, and you do get sucked into it. I mean, there are a little bit of slow parts during the courtroom scenes, but
once you get
you've got to go through that as a base for what you're about to see.
What's the bridge? That's the bridge between the stories. So it was very good. I liked it. Check it out.
Today's movie, or the day 13, whenever we're filming this, The Visit. Yes. This is a M. Night Shyamalan.
Another one that I hadn't seen. So this was new to me. I'm going to pull it up on my bobber. But yes, this is a Shyamalan movie, and normally I go into those and I'm like,
you said to me, I have to concentrate.
I'm going to have to think.
I'm going to have to think.
Like, I'm going to have to pay attention. Like, there's going to be subtleties and the twist. You know, like, where's the twist? When am I going to get the twist?
And I usually, I always want to just be a spoiler and just be like, okay, do you want to know what's going to happen next? This time I was silent. I let you just watch it without any of my inputs.
No, you were, it was, it was doable.
So yeah, with those twists to see where Dan was his mind was, oh no a couple of times. I heard, oh no, from Dan.
Yeah.
Didn't know what was going
at the
to
end,
happen next.
Yeah, so we have Becca and Tyler. So those are the two children that are leaving their mom, who is Catherine Hahn. She is mom. She's just known as mom, doesn't have a name.
She's estranged from her parents, who she hasn't seen, and the kids have never met.
Yeah, and Catherine Hahn is from, she's done a couple of Marvel things. She just did, WandaVision? So she was one of the girls in that. So I know her from that. I know she's a good actor. So I was like, oh, okay, she's the mom. Sending her kids away. It's the first time her mom's like actually.
But you don't really see the mom that much.
No,
really.
It's just really it's the mom is trying to connect with a guy because she's just gotten the dad walked out on them, right?
Yeah.
Went out for a pack of smokes and never came back, and so yeah, they've been without their dad, and so it's just been the mom, and mom needs a break. Mom hasn't seen her parents as well. She hasn't seen them since she left when she was 18.
Right.
So it's been about 10, 12 years, 15 years, over 10 years since she's seen her parents.
And I think she said through an email it was decided that she was going to let the kids go on a visit.
Right.
Get on the train.
Right.
Was it a train? It was a train.
They took a train.
To go visit on a visit.
The parents,
just leave it like,
to go and visit her
visit.
parents. Like, she hasn't seen her parents in 15 years. So she's just kind of like, hopefully you have fun. I grew up on that farm. Da-da-da. There's whole, so.
Yeah.
And the kids have been decided that they're going to go with their cameras and they're going to do a little something for mom.
So you get a little POV.
They're going to do a tribute to mom. So they're doing all this recording.
Yes, it's a questionnaire video. Basically, you get what
it's
is that?
history.
It's an interview. It's a one-on-one sit down that they do a lot. With
it was
the
a tribute. It was a tribute to her mom's life and kind of taking her down memory lane with all like where she grew up, talking with her parents that she hasn't talked to in 15 years, and maybe try to bring them together.
That's what it was. It was her trying to mend the broken, fractured family.
So it's supposed to be a bridge, and that's what they were doing. They were working on this video, and they were recording the whole time. So pretty much the whole movie, I want to say, was in that mode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think that the mom scenes at the beginning were. Some parts at the farm may not have been, but I swear to God, like 90% of this movie is POV. So it's all done through one of the kids having a camera. So
yeah.
So they get to the grandparents.
Everything is fine. Everything is great. Yeah. They like their room. They are like, wow, this is where mom stood. This is the room over here. Oh, wow, and grandma's cooking up a storm.
Right.
And all is well for first up until they say, well, we're going to bed.
9:30. Bedtime's 9:30 around here for us, so we'll see you in the morning. And they were just like, wow, that's weird. Like 9:30 is really, like, it's kind of early. But I mean, I don't know, whatever. So they said 9:30 is bedtime. All right. Well, they go to bed and they're up, obviously. Like, the kids aren't going to bed, so they start hearing some weird noises. And they don't know what to make of it. And they're going to go open the door. And they're fighting over who's going to go open the door. Like, first, macho brother's going to go do it.
Yeah.
And
actually, I thought the brother fell asleep the first time, and she looked out.
Well, she did.
There was something going on that scared her, and then the next night, it happened again.
Okay, so that's what you're absolutely right. So that first night, she went downstairs, and she was throwing up.
Yeah.
So she was throwing up, and that was fucking weird.
Just like
projectile vomiting.
Projectile vomiting just all over the downstairs.
Yeah.
From the top of the stairs, she could see that. So that scared her a bit. And the next day, she said, "Well, I know Grandma's sick, right?" And it was like, no, it's just maybe a 24-hour bug. She's fine.
Right.
She's fine. Don't worry. And kind of day went on. They did an interview or two.
Doing more recordings.
For the document.
For the documentary, tribute to mom. And they start to go outside and they see Grandpa outside and he's like, "Hey, Grandpa." And then Grandpa just blows him off and like doesn't say anything to him.
The boy. Yeah,
the boy,
Tyler.
Tyler.
Who's a funny...
He's hella funny. He's like beatboxing.
He's funny.
Fucking...
You see him on the train. He's rapping. He's doing, what do they call it? Like off the cuff rapping, like Eminem.
It was like
where they just put you on the spot. And you just gotta,
yeah, it's like I said beatboxing, but I was like
she's a really hot chick, and I was ready to bang her, like, but then I was like, no way, because I'm just a teenager, like, really stupid rap.
Kelly Clarkson. Like,
he said he was not going to use cuss words.
He was going to use, he was going to use popular
pop singers.
So yeah, it's all like what, like.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Yeah, anyway, so that was his thing. That was the running gag throughout the whole thing. He kept doing that. Which was funny.
That was his, like, that's what he could do.
It was kind of a break.
His thing.
It was a nice little break.
Yeah.
The whole of everything. So, gets blown off by Grandpa. They go to bed another night. Start hearing some weird shit again. I think this is the night that she's scratching at the wall.
Naked.
She's naked and she's scratching at the wall.
And he's like, I'm blind.
I'm blind. Yeah, so that was that night.
And they ask. They ask, what's going on? What's going on? And the boy is getting curiouser about what Pop is doing out in the barn.
Yeah.
So they have questions now. And they are told that Grandma has something called
sundowning
syndrome.
Yeah, so it's like basically when you get old and you just do old shit. Like everything they were naming was all the stuff that she was doing, kind of like.
Well, I thought it was dementia that happens during nightfall.
That's what I mean. That's why I said it's like like old people stuff. But it's not like to that extent. So they were like...
It's like... But she was psychotic.
But he was passing it off. Like, he was just like, it's okay. She's fine. Don't worry about it.
Like, it was like she's like a sleepwalker. You know,
right.
she just does this stuff at night. It's just what happens.
Don't worry.
It's okay.
Just like we said,
stay in your room. Yeah.
Like we said, 9:30. She probably shouldn't come out. You know? It's that kind of thing. And it's like, why? We have to be in... anyway. So they go back. So he follows Grandpa. He's outside again and sees Grandpa go to that shed again.
The boy, Tyler.
The boy, and Grandpa comes back out of the shed and closes it and locks it.
He's got his camera and he's saying, "We are going to find out what Grandpa is hiding in the shed."
Dead hookers? I don't know. More dead hookers? Another grandma?
Feeding a monster, a zombie monster.
That's kind of what I thought it was. Because I was like, what is he doing? Like, why is he going in there? And why does he keep taking a bag with him?
Yeah.
I thought they were feeding some mongoloid baby or like...
Something.
Yeah, the elephant.
Something's in there that he was feeding.
So he goes in there creeping around and he comes across this huge pile of...
bags filled with shitty diapers.
Shitty diapers. Depends. Shitty diapers.
Grandpa's poopy diapers.
He's got some poops.
Grandpa has incontinence.
So...
And Grandpa shits himself and then is so ashamed, apparently, he bags him and takes him out to the barn. And then she thinks that he goes up into the field and burns them.
Yeah.
In shame. For shame.
So, yeah.
And
so that gets talked about. And that's awkward. And there's
very.
Like, okay.
And disgusting.
So in the meantime, they've been talking to their mom off and on, and on one of the nights, like the computer gets magically, like the camera gets fucked up on it, so
Grandma in cleaning accidentally put oven cleaner.
So she can Skype with Mom. Mom couldn't see them when they were Skyping.
She could only hear them.
Yeah, so
tricky Grandma.
So it was kind of crazy. Because the whole time they're talking, it's just talking. And so they see their mom. Mom's having a great time. They're like, cool, Mom's having a good time. The kids have said that they're doing weird shit, but she had already told them that Grandma and Grandpa are a little weird. They're a little weird. I left when I was 18 for a reason.
And the sister, what was the sister's name again?
This is Becca.
Becca kept saying, you know what? She just kept saying everything is fine to her brother. It's okay. They're old. And like I said to you, they're old. They're old.
They're just
so it's all right. It's okay. They are just being reassured.
Right. And so one of the nights, like, the kid gets an idea, the brother, Tyler, he decides that he wants to keep the camera downstairs. He wants to know what the fuck's going on.
No, wait. They keep getting visitors. So one day somebody shows up from... Yeah. And they're looking for the grandparents.
Right, and they weren't there. They always weren't there. They always had just left.
Right.
To go somewhere.
Yeah. which I thought they were always out. I thought how unusual, that they were always out. But and they kind of took a little tour of her mom's old high school with Pop, and
Right.
something also weird happens. But he knows an awful lot about what the psycho ward, the psychiatric hospital, where supposedly, the grandparents supposedly work there as counselors, but he did know an awful lot about it.
Right, he knew a lot. So yeah, they put the camera downstairs and they see Grandma's a little nuts, and Grandma finds the camera and starts taking it around and fucking doing weird shit, like going to the door and banging on the kid's door and like trying to get in, and then puts the camera back, and so they go back and look at that footage. And
well, she had a knife.
She had a knife at the door, so yeah, she was fucking going. Yeah, she was.
She acted like she was so enraged that she was acting like an animal, basically a possessed animal that found the camera and now had to, kill the children. And when they saw that.
And she growled at the camera too. That's what was crazy. And so that's why I was like, dude, there's some other shit going on here, because it's Shyamalan, and I'm like, there's some there's a demon, there's gremlins. I don't know what the fuck is here, but there's something weird. Grandma ends up telling that story about the bodies and the water and stuff.
She does, yes.
During that last interview.
The last interview, right.
Which there's been a couple interviews with her, I'm sorry. But the interviews didn't go very well.
Yeah. No, as soon as she mentions the children, or her mother, to Nana freaks out anytime she thinks about, tell me about Mom, tell me about my mother.
Like a literal freak out, she starts hurting herself, and
And we really don't know. We really don't know why or what happened between the mother and the parents.
Nothing's been clear about that since.
But we're also seeing that Grandpa has dementia as well. And he thinks he's going to a party.
Dressed. Yeah.
And he also was thinking somebody was following them when they were driving around, and at the school he charged some random person.
Oh yeah, he thought they were following him. Stop following me.
So he's very paranoid, and now he himself is having dementia.
Right.
And they keep trying to tell the kids, I bet you're so disappointed in your Nana and Pop that we're old and we're weird.
And they keep turning it around.
Yeah.
On, poor us, we're just a bunch of fuddy-duddies, and it's like, okay.
So now we're on day, 4 or 5. They know they need to get the F out because something just isn't right.
Yeah, this isn't fucking cool, at all. And, especially after the recording, they were just kind of like, okay, we're done. And it was almost over. The trip was I think they only have one more day there.
And they get another visitor, don't they? Another visitor, a woman shows up. Says, we really have missed them.
Yeah, they haven't been there. We were just wondering.
And she kind of gets her on tape a little bit. She does a little recording with the visitor,
Yeah. Right.
Tell us your name, and nice to meet you. Act natural, act casual. But you see, she leaves and she does come back, and she has a confrontation, it looks like, with Nana and Pop outside. And then she follows them off camera.
Right. That's when things
That's when things get
really real in this movie, because that's when it's because it's the last night, and they're like, let's make this a really fun family night.
And the kids have plotted that this is the night we have packed our bags and we are just gonna fucking run the fuck out of here.
As soon as we can get out of here, we're leaving.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
The grandparents want to have one last night, and they're like, we're doing a game night tonight. So everybody's sitting down and they're playing Yahtzee, I think is what it was. Yeah, it was Yahtzee, because, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And she's trying to get up and leave, and she sees the woman who had come by to visit hanging. She's now strangled, hanging like a Christmas decoration outside. And she's now totally freaked out and telling her brother, we gotta go. But he can't get up off of the table because they are playing Yahtzee. And Grandpa shits
himself at the table, which was
Pop has a poop episode at the table, and Nana is horfing down powdered cookies.
As he's shitting himself, she's like, oh, that was like a trigger for her to start eating these powdered sugar cookies.
Yeah.
And I mean, pounding them down like two-fisted.
And he gets super aggressive about the Yahtzee game and says he's the best. Ask anyone at the cafeteria.
At the cafeteria, I'm a master. It's like, cafeteria
and
where?
I think it's around this time that she does get the glue off of her computer. She calls and they are showing, somehow they're showing their mom.
Outside. They showed them outside and they're like, they're outside, look. And she's like, that's not your grandparents.
She's like, who are those people?
Yeah,
are those the people you've been staying with all week?
Yeah, and it was just like,
and she's like, I need you to go. I need you to get
the hell out of there right now.
She's like, that is not Nana and Pop. Yeah. So now the kids are totally freaked out. They know they need to get out of there, but they are trapped.
Right.
Nana is now going into sundowning.
Right.
She's like getting the dementia. Now, we've skipped a lot of other really creepy things that have happened, okay?
But you should watch it.
You really do need to
totally spoiler everything on this.
No, we're not going to but there are some really super creepy moments with Nana, and it's just so creepy.
Yeah, she's
so creepy.
She plays a good fucked up person. Like,
she's so creepy, and then she tells the story about.
The bodies and the little things.
They both of them start telling the grandchildren about their hallucinations.
Yeah.
So now we know that they have hallucinations. Not only do they have dementia, they have hallucinations, and they crap themselves, and they act like demon weirdos after 9:30.
Right, and they're not getting their meds, obviously. So, so that's adding to this whole mess. They probably are not much more normal on the meds, but they got to be better than that.
So that's a big spoiler alert.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah, so Grandpa and Pop, I think Nana starts to freak out, right? Pop takes Nana upstairs.
We're going to go to that part.
And locks her in. And then shortly after, Pop tries to attack both children, throws Becca in with Nana, and he has the young man,
Tyler, under a spell.
With him and his poopy diaper. And we have now known that Tyler is a germaphobe. Let's get that out now.
Yeah, he doesn't like germs.
So he definitely has. Okay, so Pop is now going to torture the poor boy.
Hey, you don't like germs, do you?
And Becca, poor Becca. Poor Becca. I think not only by this point she's gone downstairs into the basement. I'm pretty sure she's gone down to the basement, and she has now also discovered the real Nana and Pop.
Yeah, Nana and Pop were down there. Like, they found... First, it was a picture that they found, and that didn't look anything like the people that were there. And then they found Nana and Grandpa in there, stuffed in the garbage dumpster.
Yeah.
Just, like, fucking awful. And that's when Grandpa...
That's when Grandpa takes her upstairs, and so she's now in there with crazy... Deranged, demonic...
Knocked out Grandma.
I mean, she's not possessed, but she...
But she's totally fucking crazy, though. Like, she's just going all over, crawling under the bed, and, like, she's on all fours. Like, that's fucking crazy.
I mean, she's trying to strangle and kill Becca. Right. She's trying to kill her. She's legit going to murder her like she murdered her children and put them in the lake to go to the imaginary world where they will... be saved and come back. They'll be stored and come back in this world. Anyway, Becca fights back in her fury and kills Nana in self-defense.
I had to happen. Bitch had to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was nuts.
And then what happens? I can't remember. Then somehow she breaks out of the room. She goes to save her brother.
Yeah, she busts open the door. She gets downstairs, and unfortunately,
meanwhile, the poor boy is being.
The poor boy has had a diaper on his face the entire time he's been down there. Like, the guy literally took his diaper, shoved it in the kid's face.
We were both traumatized.
I'm kind of gagging, like, right now, just thinking about it. It's so fucking disgusting. I've cleaned diapers. I've cleaned adult diapers. I took care of my grandparents. It's rough. That's a rough trip. And that being shoved in his face for that amount of time. I'm surprised he was alive after that.
Basically, he had been pushed too far.
He went into psycho mode and just went off.
Beat the shit out of
on this old
dude.
Because that's what I was thinking the whole time. I was like, these people are feeble. Why don't they just push him over?
Why aren't they just being
Just
overtaken?
sneeze on him.
Yeah.
He just freaked out on him, and so that was the end. Freaked out on him.
Meanwhile, their mother is frantically coming to save them.
Finally coming with the cops, and it's like.